What up, y'all? Bet you're wondering why I look the exact same from the last beginner video is because I'm making this on the same day. Because I want to be able to record it in an open area with good background or semi-good background where my siblings are not running all over the place and my family's out of the house right now. So this is the time for me to record. Intermediate, bulking, cutting, vein gaining. So this is very much dependent on your goals. I personally have never had any interest in competing. I've never wanted to be 8%, 9% body fat. I feel like I'm one of those rare occurrences where in the fitness industry, I'm not telling you to be as shredded as you possibly can be. I think the only reason people should be getting below even like 12, even getting below 12 is like, depending on the person, depending on your genetics, can be very not great. So depending on your goals, me as a person, unless you're competing, I don't think you should be getting below single digit body fat or not below 10% body fat. 10% is pushing it, but even then, I don't think unless you are competing, you should not be getting single digit body fat. And here are a couple reasons why. If you are an older person watching this, especially in your 40s, 30s, 50s, and you're just trying to get in shape, I mean, there's no benefit to you getting in single digit body fat. Now, I don't have to worry about this because I'm not married and I'm waiting till marriage, but libido in the toilet, in the garbage. From everything I've heard, everything I've learned, your libido is in the toilet when you're shredded. You don't have as much energy when you're shredded. Your lifts are not as good when you're shredded. The only benefit to getting shredded is your appearance, your physical appearance. And then if you compete, you might win. That is the only benefit to being single digit body fat. Keep in mind, I'm saying single digit. So if your goal is to be fit and in shape and, look good when you take off your shirt, then your goal range should be anywhere from 10 to 15. That's like the best range for looking good, depending on where you store your fat. Because a lot of people store it in their stomach and it can be a little harder. But to have that like abs, because everybody wants abs. Let's be honest. Everybody's like, man, when I hear somebody say I want to get toned, I'm like, you don't want to get toned, you just want abs. And it is what it is. Like everybody wants to get, and when I actually have a coaching client I'm coaching right now, he's like, I want to get toned. I'm like, okay, what's toned? I just want to get rid of this layer right here. I'm like, okay, well, unfortunately, that's probably going to be the last thing to go because for most men, they carry their body fat in their stomach, and it is what it is. But back to the point, if you're just looking to get toned, then aim for 10 to 12%, at the most 15% body fat. And some people will be like, well, how do I track that? Without the proper equipment, it's really hard to track. But if you look in the mirror and you like what you see and you look good, you have those abs, you have a couple veins and whatnot, then you don't need to get incredibly shredded. You already look decent. Another thing, sorry, I'm having notifications pop up. Another thing that's a problem with being an intermediate as well is you'll scroll social media and you'll see all these bodybuilders and these fitness influencers and they're like super duper 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 shredded. And it's like, that's unrealistic for you. And you got to realize a lot of times they're on gear. A lot of times they're abusing lighting. They're abusing angles. They're abusing like filters, every single thing they can do to make themselves look better. And I'm guilty. I'll use filters sometimes, especially on TikTok. Like TikTok has some crazy filters, but I also put out content where I have no lighting. I have no filter. I purposely put out content, videos I've made before. You can go look at some of them where I try to make myself look as crappy as possible. Like I'll have eaten beforehand. I'll put myself in the kitchen where there's absolutely no lighting just because I don't want people to get a false understanding and a false representation of what being in shape is and what being fit is, because they'll see these people online and think, oh, they probably feel great, or they probably get all, and a lot of people will start for chicks. Oh, they probably get all these chicks and they feel great. It's like, no, they don't, because when you look like that, it takes so much, especially in single digit body fat, it takes such a toll on your body. Like it's just not great. And if you're doing it for girls, I mean, yes, they want a fit and healthy man. They want a man that has, the muscles. That is true. But oftentimes there comes to a point where it's like tapers off, like anywhere past like 10, 8, not like 8, 7%. It's like kind of gets almost gross looking. Like personally, my girlfriend, whenever we're like snuggling or whatever, she hates when I try to flex my abs. She likes that there is a tiny bit of fat over there that she can lay on. And like, I still have abs, right? And I still look good. I'm not saying that you need to be fat. I'm saying that don't use social media as a baseline for what your goal is, because it is so twisted and it's so crazy. But anyways, back to the main point. Intermediate, bulking, cutting, main gaining. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. So if you're cutting, my main advice would be take it slow, especially as an intermediate. You've built all this muscle up. You don't want to lose it. Take your time. Do not rush it, because if you rush it, you're going to lose muscle, and then you're going to look in the mirror and be like, where'd all my muscle go? So take your time. Your deficit show, like I said in the beginner video, take your maintenance calories. You've probably already seen a couple of videos on this, because as an intermediate, you've probably been scrolling through looking for stuff, advice and whatnot. To me, an intermediate lifter is between a year and 3 years of lifting. So, but anyways, take your maintenance. If you're cutting, take about 200, 300 calories. You constantly track your weight on the scale. And if it starts to stop for more than a week or two, you cut down the calories a tiny bit more. I mean, a tiny bit, like 100 calories. Very little. Do not cut by like another 500 calories. Okay. Very little bits at a time, and taking it slow. Do not try to lose more than a pound a week. And I some people will say 2 pounds a week, but I just think it's not worth the risk of losing muscle. Pound a week. Just try to lose a pound a week, slowly and steadily. That's it. And it's actually, in the long run, it might even be quicker, because instead of losing 2 pounds a week, you're losing that muscle and the fat. So if say you lose 2 pounds a week, you might be losing 1 pound of muscle and 1 pound of fat. But if you're losing 1 pound a week, you're only probably losing a pound of fat. If you're taking it slow, you're making sure that all of what the weight you lose is fat and not muscle. And that's what you want, especially as an intermediate. You build all this muscle up, you have this nice looking frame, and you want to cut and make it look, you want more definition. Take your time. Don't lose the muscle you've worked so hard to build. Now, if you're bulking, kind of the same rules apply as a beginner lifter. Do not dirty bulk. For the love of everything holy, do not dirty bulk. I've seen way too many people say, dirty bulk, bro, winter arc, eat whatever you want, lift super heavy, get big. Yeah, you can get big, but you're going to look like a marshmallow man. So is it really worth it? No, it's not. So don't do that. Take your time with the bulk as well. No more than a pound or two a week. And just don't rush it. There's no point in rushing it. Fitness is it's a long and slow journey. Take your time, enjoy the journey. Also, another thing with the cutting and the bulking for intermediates, do not sleep on cardio. Do not. Especially with cutting. Cutting, you're at a deficit, right? And as you get more and more into that deficit, you start to feel more and more like garbage, okay? Now think of it this way. If you do cardio in your deficit, yeah, the cardio in the moment, it's going to suck balls. But then you can eat more food because you did that cardio. You can have more food. You can give into more of your craving, healthy cravings. No candy, no whatever. Healthy foods. You can give in more with eating because you've done that cardio. Same thing goes with bulking. I have seen too many people say don't do cardio on a bulk. That is the biggest load of garbage I have ever heard. Do not skip out on your cardio even when you're bulking, for 2 reasons. One, it's good for your heart. Your heart is the most important thing. It's the most important muscle. You want this to work for a long time. Do not abuse your heart by eating all this junk food and then not doing cardio as well. Do your cardio. All right, you're in a surplus, so if the more cardio you do, the more you'll be able to eat. Same thing applies. The more cardio you do, even if you're in a surplus, you still have a calorie limit, right? 300 calories above your maintenance, right? That's your limit. Once you hit that, you don't want to go over that, right? If you do more cardio, you subtract the amount of calories you burned in cardio, and then you can eat more. You can eat more. Everybody wants to eat more. If anybody says they don't want to eat more, whether they're bulking, cutting, main gaining, they're lying. Everybody wants to eat more. All right, main gaining, maintenance. It's literally the same exact thing. I think maintenance is a lot better for intermediates and advanced guys than beginners, because it's very slow and it's very it takes a while to see results with main gaining, but it's so beneficial because you gain muscle and you gain basically no fat. You're gaining muscle a lot slower than you would with a bulk, but you're not gaining the same amount of fat that you would with a bulk. And the reason I think this is better for intermediate to advanced lifters is because you already have that frame. You already look decent, right? You already look, okay, you look in the mirror. You're not hating what you see, right? So you're willing to be more patient with your gains. And please, for love of just do not compare yourself to social media. The reason people quit, whether it's advanced, beginner, intermediate, or the reason they start going too hard on the cut or too hard on the bulk or too hard on, you can't really go too hard on main gain. It's really easy to do a main gain. whether you're going too hard on the cut or the bulk is because they see all these people online. It's like, well, I want to be as big as him. Let me bump up 500 more calories. Or I want to be as shredded as him. Let me cut another 500 calories. It's stupid. Do not compare yourself to people on social media. It's you versus you. That is the journey. It's not you versus, I don't know, Alex Eubank or Sam Solik or whatever the popular influencers are nowadays. Now, yes, they have some good messages, but the problem is too many people are comparing themselves to them and wanting the same goals. And by the way, Alex Eubank is on gear now, and so is Sam Solik. Sam Solik's been on gear. So do not compare yourselves to others. That is especially big for intermediates. Do not compare yourselves to others. I remember with the first 6 months of my lifting, I would always see these guys on social media. I'd be like, man, why can't I look like them? Blah, 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 blah. Take your time. It's not a rush. Enjoy the journey and do not compare yourselves to others, because then you end up either taking the bulk too hard or taking the cut too hard, and you end up either looking skinny because you cut it way too quickly, or you end up looking fluffy and fat. Even if you have a lot of muscle, you still look like a marshmallow man because you ate too much on your bulk. Take your time. Take it slow. Don't rush it. And don't sleep on cardio, man. Cardio is so good. I hate cardio. I hate running. Well, I'm actually starting to enjoy it more. But when I first started, I hated running. I despised it because, one, I have asthma, so it kills me to run. But I know that it's so good for my heart. It helps me build up my lung capacity with my asthma, and it helps me want to eat more. If I want to eat more, all I have to do is do more cardio, and I can eat more. So I don't get why people like to hate on cardio so much when it's so beneficial no matter what you're doing. The more cardio you do, the more you can eat and still lose weight or still look good. So don't sleep on the cardio. Take it slow. That's my main advice to intermediates. Just really take your time, because you've built up this frame. Especially if you started with a bulk, you've built up this muscular frame. You don't want to lose it because you took the cut too fast. And if you're skinny and you bulked up, or if you're fat and you cut down and you want to, gain a little bit more muscle, don't take the bulk too fast, because then you'll just end up looking like the person you started out as. Take your time. Peace out, y'all.